Thanks, Les Concorla. Les Concorla, I can't let this day go without first congratulating the Limerick team for winning the All-Ireland. I must compliment John Kiley and the 36 panel and the background team through a pandemic to have brought such a historical event and to win an All-Ireland during a pandemic for Limerick. And I must thank the background team, and I have to thank JP McManus and his family for believing and investing in Limerick, as I'm a very, very proud Limerick person. Thank you. Minister, we're talking here about the rolling out of a vaccine, and I am not anti-vaccine. But what I will say is I want information to go to the public and let people, if they have concerns and questions, let them be answered. Not to dictate to people or not to threaten people about taking the vaccine. I have publicly stated, and I will state it again, when the vaccine is available to me, I will seek medical advice from my own medical GP, as in when to take the vaccine and when it's the right time to take it. The biggest problem we are having here for the public is the information coming out to people. We've seen in the last couple of weeks the turning on the lights in your own constituency in Gracelands. You publicly put it out on your Twitter that there was a public light being turned on in a lockdown of a pandemic. You publicly put it up on your Twitter account that the lights were being turned on to make people come to an event that you promoted yourself. Okay, I didn't do that. You did. And then you come on and you try, and anyone that has a question on the vaccine, or anyone that has concerns, whether they have suffer from depression, suffer from anxiety, whatever they suffer from, you're trying to push something on them, and you're using the media to shove it down people's throat that you will do, that we're a police state. Ireland is a free country, and people are entitled to ask questions about what's going into their body. And I state again, I'm not anti-vaccine, but I am a curious person. I'd like to know what I'm taking, I'd like to understand it, and I'd like to welcome it. That's where the message needs to go. And there's an old saying, you'll get an awful lot more with honey than you will with vinegar. And the government would want to wake up and see that and treat people as people that are educated. All they have is simple questions to feel right in taking the vaccine. So it is okay to be scared, Minister. It is okay to ask questions and stop penalising people for doing the same. What this pandemic has shown that in rural Ireland, and that means once we leave the Red Cow roundabout, we're back in rural Ireland. And I've been saying it since the very start. It has shown the lack of broadband that is in our areas. There are 544,000 homes in the intervention area for national broadband. There is 21,231 houses in Limerick that have no broadband. That's what the pandemic has shown us. They have shown us that our transport systems, we haven't got them. If I want to go to my local shop, which is 1.7 kilometres from my house, I either have to cycle, walk or drive. Now, if Eamon Ryan at his way, we'd all be walking or cycling, but it's not. If I want to go to a supermarket, the nearest supermarket to me is 7.3 kilometres. The next one is 19 kilometres. The next one is 15 kilometres from my house. If I want to get a bus to come to Dublin, I have to get somebody to drive me to the bus because there's no parking facilities in rural Ireland for people to get to a bus. We have students that are going to college in Limerick. I have one student in my area. Her parent has to drive her 7 miles to get a bus. She gets the bus, she gets it into Culper Station in Limerick. She then has to get another bus from there to get to college. If she is to be in college at 8 o'clock, she has to get up at 6. Is that the same for anyone in the cities where they have transport? It's not, Minister. What you're not looking is every cent that is being collected in rural Ireland, you're shoving it in to infrastructure within cities. You're not investing in rural Ireland. Every place in my house, I'm a person of 6 in our household. There is 4 cars in my household, plus the business ones that I have through my own self-employed business. For me to go to work, I have no other alternative but to use my vehicle to go to work. And I pay 52 or 3 cents in every euro to the government in taxes through my fuel. And where do you put the money? Into the cities. The Taoiseach Micheál Martin spoke in the Dáil last week and said that what they're trying to do is get people into towns and villages where there's infrastructure. I've been saying it, roaring from the rooftop since I came here. 30 years Askeaton is looking for a sewerage system. You cannot build an ool at the moment because the sewerage system is at capacity. We have people that are in Kilfinnan at the moment that the council could only, they have 25 houses to build in Kilfinnan. 6 of them on a housing estate have to be connected to a private system within their own households to make up the numbers, because 15 of those houses can only be connected to the sewerage system. We have so many voids of buildings that are covered under conservation in our areas that the government are stopping from being rebuilt under conservation. We can't get our young people even into the villages and towns. Social housing can't be built in our areas because there isn't enough infrastructure. So while you're saying this and saying, oh, it's great, we're going to encourage people to go to towns and villages, you have no infrastructure. Why do I know it? I'm in construction all my life, and people on my phone, day in, day out, are saying we have no services. For me to get a taxi from my house to the city is 50 euros one way. 50 euros one way. Where would you go in Dublin for 50 euros? Minister, look at the big picture. Who puts the food on your table when you go home this evening? The milk, the bread, the beef, even if you're down vegans, lettuce, whatever you're on, who puts it there? Rural Ireland. It's about time you woke up and invested in rural Ireland. Why do you think there's 23 independent TDs from outside of Dublin representing this country now? Because you've forgotten rural Ireland. You forgot to invest in rural Ireland. And you don't know how to invest in rural Ireland. Why don't you ask somebody that knows? I've lived in it. I've worked in it all my life. I know rural Ireland. From the point of view of mental health, and we mentioned the pubs, right? And people were trying to, they're not wet pubs, they're traditional pubs. In my area, we have no post office. You've closed our creamery. We have one shop, O'Gorman's in Grana, and we have one public house, which is the Rock in Grana. That's where I live in rural Ireland. We have a hall, we have a national school, and we have a church. That's what we have, but every one of them are 2 to 3 kilometres away from me. If I want to go after that, then I've got to go to Adair, Newcastle West, Kilmallock. These are all 20 kilometres journeys from me. Ballingarry, which you've closed every pub there as well. They were the only outlook where people from rural Ireland have to go to have a social outlook. It's not a session It's to go to meet their neighbours, because you've closed everything else and you've invested in nothing else. That's what rural Ireland is about. And I'm proud to be born in rural Ireland. I'm proud to be born in Limerick. And I'm proud to have worked in Limerick all my life.
Thank you, Deputy.
So you might start investing in Limerick. Thank you.